Hello, a beautiful high vibe tribe. It is Pink Bella. Aloha. Welcome, everyone, as I cleanse the energy with the Palo Santo, calling in the highest messages from Prime Source Creator today as a channel through me. And I'm asked that a healing bubble of light be placed around everybody who, whenever you watch this, thank you all for being here on my channel. And thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing this information out. This is going to be a channeling and a deep dive today for all star seeds, light workers, and past 144,000 grid keepers and gatekeepers. And we use these terms not to separate us, but for all of us to find each other because they're all key codes, they're all activations. So think about installing a new app on your phone. So as I'm recording this for you all today, we are almost through Mercury retrograde. Mercury will be going direct tomorrow. There'll still be a little bit of tidy up and clean up, but every time Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. So every time I go dive deeper into going within and bringing up clear information for myself, for all of you. Throat chakra absolutely gets recalibration. This time it was deeply connected for myself and all of you who I worked with this month in the solar plexus, releasing old um, entanglements, connections for ourselves and for our ancestors, a lot of karma clearing. And I'm already feeling clearer today. A lot of fatigue through this Mercury retrograde because it did overlap with the very powerful Lionsgate portal, which, by the way, today is the final 888 code for this month. I'm recording this on the 26th, and this numerology aligns with an 888 code. So this is sort of the wrapping up of it all. And the sun is now in Virgo as we head towards September. And I'll be doing an overview for September, but just briefly, we will have a very powerful 9/9 portal on September 9th. We will have the fall or spring equinox 3 weeks in, plus that equinox is going to be so powerful because I was just reminded that we have eclipse season already. So much. So congratulate yourselves, all of you, that you have made it through. Can you believe we're almost into September? This year is just it's just flying by. And I'm grateful, so grateful for all of you. So today I pulled some cards. I just want to see kind of where we're at as we start this week. And I'm also going to get into a global and personal grid work update here for Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I just had not one, but 2 assignments for a location that I've been going through since I was a child in this lifetime. And I also went and did some research after it. So I'll talk to you about that. And then that intertwines with the dragons. And I'm going to talk about the multiple ways that dragons are assisting us all right now, plus how I offer to assist you to upgrade your dragon skills as well. So let's talk about, and the third piece, I'll swing this in with all of this. I had a piece of information brought up to me yesterday. So I finally researched my Earth family, the galactic origins, and the common theme ground is the Orion system and the Orion Wars. So I feel like that's going to be for many of you. So just briefly, there are some bunch of offers on that will end at the end of August. And one of them right now is an intro offer for a galactic Akashic Records package. There's individual sessions as well, but the package I'll be able to get into helping heal even a deeper level for your personal, ancestral, and earth family origins. Okay. So I wasn't surprised when I did it all, but it became very apparent. The timelines are becoming solidified at this time. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to all swing around, but if you are hanging out with Earth family that are still sleepy, or you're interacting with them and communication has seemed very bizarre, it's because everybody chose their timeline before the Lionsgate and the boots on the ground battle for Earth, for everyone's soul, for land, etc., started to really heat up. It really heated up in July, but I would say the timeline shift um, accentuated on July 19th when there was that global internet reset, which hit some areas more deeply than others. And then, of course, now we're building into the change of the guard in Canada in October and the change of the guard in the US in November. And it's going to impact all of us. It's a ripple effect around the world. Okay. So let me see. I just did an amazing podcast with another Starseed, Black Feathers. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, that's the last podcast I did middle last week. So much key information came in. Even though it's called Starseeds Essentials, it's really for everyone. It's just giving you all a heads up of there are things that are just mandatory now that we need to do, and I'm here to help you individually or in a group setting. Okay, so that's why we did that podcast. There'll be other podcasts coming up, of course, in September. And then the video I did prior to that, I went into some of the world issues briefly because this is a G-rated channel, but there's a deeper dive on Rumble. So if you're not following me on Rumble, please check that out as well. I do an update. So check out the community tab. If you're not following me, thank you for doing that. Check out the community tab because that's where I post everything daily. And I just recently posted an updated podcast on Spotify and Rumble. And yeah, please follow me over on Rumble because I do post this content over on Rumble, but I also do deep dives over there that I can't do here. Okay. They're also, I won't be doing it today, but I will be looking at it. There's a bunch of things going on worldwide around freedom of speech, and one of them is connected to the Telegram platform. So I am also on Telegram. That's also in the description box. Everything you need to know to get a hold of me is down below in the description box. I do have a Telegram channel, and I will be doing sort of voicemail updates over there for key information, again, that I can't leave on this platform, or that maybe there's not enough time to sort of do a video update. Okay. All right, so where to start? Let's start with just the messages. And I pulled in some dragon messages as well, since they're so key to our journey right now. And yeah, so I'm going to do the Palo Santo, but I'm going to do just a little spray as well. Asking that this session be placed on a timeline and a frequency connected to Prime Source Creator without interference. And so it is done. Okay, so I just asked, okay, so Mercury's going direct, and what do we need to know for this final week in August? So we got the Holy Grail. And this is just, it's about pushing us to go within. You are what you seek. The other message is that's what Mercury retrograde is all about. It's to get us so frustrated with technology, so frustrated with communicating with people that we throw our hands on the air and it pushes us within. And it's really about accelerating our ascension journey, our choosing our highest golden timeline, our choosing 5D or higher, fifth dimension or higher, and noticing the differences. I would say for me, it brought up a lot of like clearing mental and emotional bodies, a lot of frustration, a lot of irritation. My throat would get swollen after being in large groups of people. I still went through that on the weekend, but at least I understood what was going on. And we're up against an onslaught of different low vibrational frequencies coming through now that have been ramped up in our air, water, food, all of that. So I think I talked about it in January. So we've gone through another level of that. So the pushing to go within is our way home. It's our way to ascend. It's our way to make sure our heart chakra is opened. It's to clear everything out. Sometimes intensely, dark night of the soul, but it's also to force us to remember about being part of source, the ground crew down here, and to move into that next timeline. And to do that, we have to clean house, we have to declutter. So that's what Mercury retrograde is all about. And Mercury retrograde, Mercury literally goes in between the sun and the earth, and it scrambles all signals, voice, thinking processes, not just for us, but for everyone. And it impacts technology because for whatever reason, all the technical companies decide to do upgrades to all their apps and they make a mess of things. I used to be in tech. They don't test hardly at all. Sometimes we're the test ground. So lots of frustrating things going on. And interesting that Telegram has kind of been positioned as Mercury's going to go direct. And probably what will happen is there'll be more freedom of speech that comes forward. And I posted something in Telegram. There's a whole list of things globally right now where freedom of speech is on deck. So it's important. I also had an opportunity to speak my truth with large groups of people to strangers. And it just came out. I couldn't stop it, but it was just about the whole idea of everything being electronic. and I know to some degree that will continue, but I'm also the voice, we all are, for the individuals who are not there, who don't, who, as I love a Black Feather, who people who are unhoused. Um, I love leaving a cash tip for people when I do go out because it just lights them up. Like there's just something about the physical connection to cash at this time, and we don't know which way it's going to go. However, that is keeping us free. It's a way to not be monitored. Okay, so that's an easy way to put it. So I am the voice right now, and I'm around that, and also because I do it all, I use it all, but I'm also very conscious and aware that there always should be a choice. And sure enough, through Mercury retrograde, I went to go get kitty food. The store I went to, the whole system was down, but they did take cash, and she had a calculator, so we were still able to successfully have a transaction. And this is the kind of thing, yeah, there's like all this pressure right now to accept the way everything is going. What we should be asking, why? Who's behind it? What's the rush? What is the rush? And I am going to be deep diving into AI and all of that soon. But anyway, the inner discovery has been to push us in to get fed up with technology and to push us in to connect more deeply with source and our heart, whatever that means to you. If it's prime source, if it's um, the divine goddess, Sophia Mother, if it's the universe, whatever you label it, it's pushing us to go within. So we're still going to have a couple of weeks of that. You are what you seek to go within. Okay. And then with that, we got the paint dragon from Andromeda. Now, this is interesting. So I always knew, besides the local star systems, I was given that I was from Andromeda a long time ago, 2017 or 18, I believe. And then I went backwards because my mom had already transitioned. Her and I are connected to Andromeda. So is my dad. And I just went through the family. I have to double check, but I believe almost all of us were connected to, in one way or another, one lifetime or another. We have that connection to Andromeda, but the Orion system was the big one that came in. Yeah, and that's where that's where all the tension is, and that's where the miscommunication is as well. At least for my family, I suspect many of us are here to heal those galactic lineages as well. Okay, so the dusky paint dragon from Andromeda helps us to embody higher love, which goes perfectly with going within and connecting more with source. Accept and radiate this higher love by touching with its flame. So we work at this every single day. I love what I love about this dragon is you can see the frequencies. So the frequencies are so important right now to help us heal. Okay. And you will have noticed this month that I was bringing in frequencies. They were in, what's the word? They were imprinted on the video, so they're actually there. But I finally figured out how to ensure that they'll be there in the physical next time. So it's coming. Okay. The next message is the Order of Melchizedek. But what I like about this is there's this pillar of light. Yeah, that's what we kind of noticed, this bright pillar of light with the Holy Grail, this bright pillar of light in this card as well. And it is about being embraced by the light. Your missions are all being uncovered and you're being moved into the next level, and don't give up. You're all necessary. We're all needed now more than ever. And it's going to be, we're all being called up from now, especially through October and November. I would say I couldn't blatantly not share that what I experienced when I did Gridwork was not following our freedom code. And I didn't, and it was almost as if I needed to sort of share that. So I wasn't just one of the numbers and locations. So that was part of my mission. So we're all needed out there on a daily basis to share our light, to shine our light. When it gets to be too much, when it's too overwhelming and it's like gets so irritating, like why do people not see it? Breathe and walk away, and just drop it, knowing that there's a deeper, we're going through this ground crew fatigue scenario at this time. So just know that. Okay. That's good. We need to hang on a little bit longer. I was shown that Christmas this year, December will have lots to celebrate. Okay, And we got the deep blue dragon with that, which is Archangel Michael and the deep blue dragon, which is going to be coming up in the next part of this video. Keeping us safe by clearing our pathway. Trust that you're protected and you walk on a path of light. And I feel like that's why I had no fear with what I was sharing with others. And I shared it with whoever presented themselves to me, because I was speaking on behalf of the people, the senior citizens, the people who are unhoused, people who rely on tips, that kind of thing. So I don't, I don't wish for that to just vanish. What about a child with it who has a piggy bank? Like, I don't wish for all these beautiful, magical little things to vanish that light people up. And so I was the word of knowing that that's a key important thing. And I felt that I was protected. It was when I was out doing grid work and huge, massive crowds, like, yeah, it was at fairgrounds. So thousands and thousands of people there. And I had no problem standing in my space. And I did feel protected the whole time I was there, because I worked with Archangel Michael and the dragons as well before I went. Okay, final message, the great central sun, which is about abundance. This whole month has been about us putting our requests in for abundance. Like, it may not have manifested yet, but it's starting to pick up speed now. And as Mercury goes direct, your prayers have been queued and they're there. So we're still receiving light code activations through the sun and the great central sun. The great central sun is part of the Sirius star system. We're receiving abundant downloads, regeneration, and success. So just know that that is ongoing. Now, this is interesting. The earth and the fire dragon came in. This is one of the dragons that I work with for grid work. And it's interesting that source is just letting me know that those of us that are doing grid work as well, that abundance, even more abundance is coming for those of us who are doing this grid work. So just to let you know that. And it says it's time for service. Where you give, you receive. So some of us have just been doing grid work, out of the goodness of our heart, because we know we're part of Source's ground crew and we've been listening to our higher selves. Okay. So just know that those of us who are called to do grid work right now, everything will be multiplied. And it might be a wish for a new home. It might be, your divine partner. It might be to travel somewhere. So just know your intentions, your manifestations, your prayers have been heard. Okay. Let me just have a little sip of some green tea. All right. On that note, there is a galactic, if I've already shared this and I'm repeating myself, yeah, this is the Mercury retrograde. There's a Galactic Akashic Records package that's on intro offer for the next few days. Not sure whenever you watch this, but just know that's an option now where I can dig deeper into your galactic history that's impacting your personal life here. And the piece that came forward for me was my Earth family. There were 2 members of my Earth family that were interfering with my journey big time this month, but apparently my whole life. When I cleared it yesterday, it's like this huge piece off my left shoulder, like one of my Starseed sisters, like a big barnacle just left. And then I went and did the galactic history, and I did a forgiveness and gratitude for the lessons for healing this final piece with part of the galactic wars in the Orion system. So it made total sense. Okay. Even if they don't remember, all right? So that's the thing. They may not remember, they might not remember in this lifetime, but that's okay. We remember for them. Okay, so that's on offer right now. That's at the top of my website. And let me just see, where do we want it? We're going to go to Gridwork first. I created a little slideshow. Just bear with me as I choose the background. And this is fun to create today. Here we go. Okay. All right, so those of you who don't know, so grid work is we're lighting up, we're healing. My part of the process is I'm working with the galactic teams to help assist with the new grid system, the new crystalline light grid system. And we are the pillars of light, and we can anchor in light wherever we go. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to work with the ley lines or the vortexes. I just happen to live in a vortex here in Canada, surrounded by mountains. Very powerful. However, we're being called to help nature. Mother Nature is also under scrutiny. Some dark portals and everything have opened up. And it was apparent even in my little local sanctuary. Suddenly people were just showing up with their phones with cigarettes. Suddenly somebody pitched a tent. Like this is a very little small sacred salmon creek. And I was like, what is going on? There's also something going on in the entire Rocky system that stems from northern Canada and goes all the way down to New Mexico in the US. So on that note, you just watch the little videos. Let me just talk about I'll just do a little overview about what I just completed. So I was invited, and by the way, everyone, I've been unconsciously doing grid work my whole life. Those of us who have traveled a lot or are traveling a lot, you're also setting up this grid system. Some souls out there, you're repairing the current grid system and Stargate system. I'm working with the Galactic Alliance teams to help facilitate the new system to set up new Stargates to help with the shifting of all of us over to New Earth. By the way, that was the message that I got for the power outage. The power outage was for many of us and our systems and our technology and our homes to be moved over to the new grid system, okay? Whereas the other souls are still on the old grid system. So that, again, the timeline split that Dolores Cannon started talking about, well, in her books, and it really started here on Earth through the harmonic convergence, which was many light workers and starseeds started working together to do this healing of the land and the grid systems way back in 1987. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the grid work. So I was invited to go to a big fairground location here. I live outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, on the West Coast. So my conscious grid work started when I moved into the city for third time, December 2017. And I was guided to grid the city a couple times a week and everywhere else that I went. So I worked a lot with the galactic teams. That's when the Arcturians really started to come in and work with me. Up until then, I've been working mainly with the Pleiadians and the Sirius team of light. And I also gridded the city multiple different ways. I know it's interesting as I'd already lived in the city twice before, and I'd also worked in the city multiple times. So Vancouver, if y'all haven't checked into it, it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet, city-wise, because it's surrounded by ocean waterways and mountains, and there's lakes and rivers. It's beautiful, but of course, most of the cities, including Seattle, many of the cities in the Pacific Northwest have been located to start taking over the nature areas. Okay. So anyway, that's how I started to consciously do grid work. And then they shared with me this time last year that I would start training whoever was called to do this work because it's needed wherever we are, whether we live in a small town or we travel or we live in a big city, especially, it's all needed. There's a lot of healing and cleanup work for ourselves, for the souls, our ancestors, for the land, and to help our family and friends and the animals as well as Gaia. Okay. All right. So I went the first time, the 17th of August, and I set it up ahead of time with the dragons because I've been working with them quite closely in this way with grid work, consciously closing down lower vibrational energy for a year now. And then the second part of the assignment was August 22nd. That wiped me out for days, everybody. I was going to do this update yesterday. I just had no energy. I was just wiped because sister, who's a light worker, who doesn't know she's a light worker yet, we were still at the site tidying things up afterwards. So there were two different parts of the site. So at this site for years, I had to go back and research. It was part of all of Canada. It was gifted to the city of Vancouver early 1900, 1907, I think. And then this parcel of land was given for this fairgrounds. That was sort of the front of it, but it was also connected to military scenarios over the years. We closed the dragons and I closed dark looshing portals. Now what's interesting is this is the first time I went to the fairgrounds because I've been going since I was a child, where I felt like I was in this bubble. So nothing worried me about where I went. I just took in intel and I paid attention. The second time I went on the 22nd, I ended up in the fairgrounds where all the rides were. That was super interesting as well. And that amalgamated, both of those units amalgamated in the early 90s. So the first assignment was to be in this venue that I was opened up for hockey, for concerts, for Lushing in 1968. So the first time I was there, I closed down a lot of timelines for myself. I could actually see myself in the venue with people from my past watching different bands. So I got to call my power back with all of that. I closed the looshing portals with dragons. The second time I went back, it actually felt really good. And I did write down percentages. Let me just see. I wrote down. Okay. So before I went and did the first assignment, the looshing portals for this venue was 80%. When I went back on the 22nd, it was down to 4%. So that was super cool. And I haven't done the percentages yet for the ride area. So on the 22nd, when I went back, we somehow parked down by the rides. We ended up down the rides. It was like a maze. There were no signs. We couldn't find our way out to the top of the part where part of the top part of the location where we needed to get to for food and for we went to another concert as well. And both of the concerts I went to were really high vibe. I didn't feel that there was looshing, but I also know there were a couple of performers that after I did the first piece on the 17th did make it, became ill and had to cancel. And then it felt like it just started to create momentum. The show we went to on the 22nd was so high vibe. Everybody was in a good frame of mind, especially the performer. So yeah, that was really, really amazing. Had a good time. Had a good time singing and realizing like that I was calling my power back as well. I had seen this individual in that same venue 15 years earlier. So that was pretty amazing too. And what I realized was when we closed the looshing portals that everyone's going to get their power back now. And it's going to make everybody more sovereign. I had a dream that night. We were still at that venue, closing down and healing the venue. So that was super interesting. So I got knocked out. So back to the playground area where the roller coasters and everything were, we were like stuck in this maze. We couldn't find our way out. And we walked by, it was like going back in time. We walked by where people play games and win stuffed toys, and there were some weird things in there, like things that when looking at it now, I was like, how is that even a ride? Some very dark things. So I knew I was guided to scan with the dragons for any black magic, dark magic, looshing areas. And then when I found out about these other operations and the underground tunnels. So that's why I was knocked out for the last couple of days because I was doing a lot of work in dream time. We go out on missions in dream time, okay? All right, so that I did the research about why it was so heavy afterwards. So it had been used as a facility for a lot of things that went on in the 1940s and 50 late 30s, early 40s conflicts on the planet, okay? Because it impacted everybody around the planet. All right. So that was super interesting. What else? I did scan for any AI stuff, and it didn't seem like it was a priority. It's definitely there, as many, many venues are forcing everyone to go into kind of a cashless electronic state. But I myself was protected, so I wanted to let you all know that. I did also go back to the big stores that impacted me a couple of weeks ago where my throat swelled up. So it's a couple of things in some of the big stores. You might be more big stores, but I'm front boots on the ground. I don't shy away from like, oh, I can't go there. No, I ask my team where I'm to go and they send me, and if I have a reaction, I level up. So the reaction is the electronic toxins, our reaction to some of the back end technology that's been installed, as well as whatever's connected to that, as well as what is in the food. So the aisle that I felt something in contained all the cereals and the coffees and the teas. However, I didn't react to it the same way, but I had a little bit of reaction. So those reactions are our superpowers. That's how our whole being just kind of goes. So if you think about it, some of us are so sensitive, we can smell someone's really toxic perfume or cologne from very far away, That's our system saying, what is that? I can't even be near that. Okay, that's not natural. So that's our superpower right now too. So it was also in the aisle with the sodas and the mineral water. However, I invoked my tools and transmuted everything for everyone in that store. So that's the amazing things that we can do. Okay. Well, let me just see. And just make notice, you might have a reaction if you go into big stores. You might have a reaction if you go to technology stores because everything's been ramped up. And I will be doing a deep dive about all the AI stuff soon because there's way more to it, souls. It's not just about us using a few AI tools, it's the back end. It's the taking away our ability to be creative and allowing us to get lazy. Um, and what about like just write, how about just writing in a notebook? Like, how about using our creativity and shutting off the technology, not in getting into more of it, right? Like I use technology and I love it, but I also know when it's time to unplug and just get into nature and connect with Gaia. And she needs our help right now too. It's not just about us helping her, and her helping us. It's both now. Like she's needing our help too because they know the other team knows that they can keep hacking in and taking over the nature spots that we won't have anywhere to repair ourselves. Okay. All right. So let me just see. So one of the last things I'm going to share with you all, fairgrounds and amusement parks right now, including all around the world, video arcades, etc., are huge looshing portals. Okay. All right. Um, and this all started when there was an incident, and I haven't looked into it about, but an incident in the Rocky Mountains here in Canada. But I know a couple of weeks ago there were multiple fires all around down the Rockies into the U.S. as well. That's just leveling pristine forest and areas that we need. The whole planet needs. We need all those trees to help us have fresh air. Okay. All right. So let me just, I'm gonna just close that down. And let me just see if Source wants me to bring in anything else. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna just wait, wait for the slideshow to come back up. And then, okay. All right. Okay. So on this note, if you all are interested in learning how to do grid work personally, or there is still an opportunity to join the grid work assignment that's going to start on September 5th. There's still some availability. Now, this one in particular, we are going to be anchoring in Divine Goddess Codes, so connected to the Divine Sophia, the Sisterhood of the Rose, and the dragons that work with the goddesses. If you're interested in that, that starts September 5th, and there's still some space available. So you get everything that I just talked about, we're going to be doing. We're going to be working in these areas as a group. It's a virtual sessions, but we're going to be working together. That so far, this is my third assignment, everyone. It's so powerful the work that we do. So we'll be starting off in the Rocky Mountains here in Canada to assist Banff, Lake Louise, which is when you see all the photos of Canada, that's Banff, Lake Louise area. And then that area will help us with Jasper, Alberta, which is sister city, which just basically had a huge fire. And then that's going to help the Rockies all the way down to New Mexico as well. So it will help all of North America. So that all the individual training that I offer you will be in those 3 sessions. The second session will be the big island of Hawaii, where Pele is, where the volcano is, on Mauna Kea. And we'll be working with that island's energy to help with the Rockies. And then the third assignment is going to be Mount Shasta, helping us to heal that area, reconnecting with the Rockies, reconnecting with the Big Island, and then also helping all of North America and Los Angeles. All right. When I set this session up, I did not realize that the next Olympics would be in Los Angeles. And that I think is destined for 2026. Okay. So I believe that's when it starts anyway. So yeah, so my background with the Olympics is we had the Winter Olympics here in Vancouver in 2010. I worked with a lot of people who ended up working at the Olympics, and they start at least 2 years early. And I almost participated as an employee with those games. Destiny redirected me for good reason, but I'm working with energies of what has happened for cities that have been involved in the Olympics. So we'll be bringing all of that to Los Angeles as well, and with Mount Shasta's assistance. Okay, we're also going to be working with dragons, and so if all of you have never worked with the dragons before, we'll be doing that as well. This is also connected to being a Jedi warrior and remembering to be a Jedi warrior as well. So we'll be bringing overlapping that for that assignment as well. Okay, so I'm gonna stop this. So there is there's also personal grid work training if you are interested in that, and it's also part of like overlapping with the Jedi training as well. So you can check that out. That is on offer right now if that calls to you. Okay, so I'm going to choose another background because I did one specifically just with the dragons. Okay, there we go. All right. So the dragons are amazing. I love this image. Like they're just so excited. They're so excited to work with us now. And we've all done enough work and enough leveling up to facilitate working with the dragons. So I love this. What does it say? Always be yourself unless you can be a dragon, then be a dragon. That's right. So we're dragons. We have dragon light bodies. We have this connection with the dragons from other multiple lifetimes here on Earth and in other galactic and star systems. And the divine goddess definitely has a deep, deep connection with the dragons to help heal the land and the ley lines. And there's dragon ley lines as well. So Kuan Yin is one individual that has a very deep galactic connection with her pink ray dragons. She is a Jedi. And there's also the deep blue dragons with Archangel Michael as well. So I'm just going to share a little bit about, I'll just reiterate. So the dragons work with me for grid work. They work with me personally. They help me protect my home, my business, and they help the area. They help this complex that I'm in. They help the shopping mall that I'm in. And one of that big store that I told you about, they just love it. When I say we're going out in grid work, it's like they all just zip around me and they're so happy. And this became a deep, deep connection with them since July 2017, before the first eclipse over North America. There's been 3 now. But they actually, I had lifetimes with them. I just didn't understand. It was just my way of remembering. So I too can help you remember your connection with the dragons. So I'll just share a little bit about what I offer, and then I'll go through the slides with you all as well. So I can assist you in remembering your guardian dragon, and I have that activation for you. So there is a dragon, and I'm gonna I'm gonna be working on that today and tomorrow. Because I'm in the process of getting a new website created. It's in process, but there are multiple ways that I work with you and the dragons. So I'm going to sort of set it up so it is all near the top, and then you can go deeper down and research it all. Okay. So there is a dragon. There's a dragon message I bring for you all in every single session, every single live, every single personal session. You get a dragon message. You get a package, you get 3. All right. There is a dragon activations package where you could have the potential of, let me just see, your higher self will let me know what the 3 dragon activations will be, because there's 1 per session. So you can have a guardian dragon activation if you haven't had that already. It could be with Archangel Michael and the deep blue dragons. It could be a goddess like Kuan Yin and her pink dragons, Mother Mary and her dragons. But there's galactic dragons, and there's dragons connected to the galactic teams of light as well as source. Okay. So that's a couple of different ways. There's also a golden dragon activation package, which is really like helping us all step into our power. Stay tuned about that package, because I feel like that package is going to get amalgamated into the dragon activation package. It's also part of the Starseeds empowerment package, where you work with the golden dragons. So the golden dragons are here to help us step into our power, our abundance, and to just shine on like we've never shined on before. All right. Then there is a divine goddess codes package. So that is if you know that you're part of the Sisterhood of the Rose, if you know you have a connection with the divine goddesses like Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, just to name 3. And they also have a connection with the dragons. So that that's a package. There's also an opportunity to have that package with the Divine Goddess Codes Gridwork assignment right now. That's on offer as well. Okay, so there's that. Leveling up from that, that would all be kind of like phase one. Phase two would be the New Earth Gridwork training or the Jedi training. The Jedi training, there are two options: Kuan Yin and her pink dragons, or Archangel Michael and the deep blue dragons. So I would say that would be a little bit more advanced sessions. And all of that's available as options with the mentorship. And there is availability for a mentorship to start in September. You can email me about that, okay? And again, I've been posting all of this in the community tab. All right, so let's just talk about this. Okay, so how did I know from our personal reality reflects back to us what is going on? So this time last year, suddenly there was so many strange things that were happening within like 2 blocks of where I'm living, which I'm on top of making sure this area is in good space, like in high frequency. So when that happened, I was guided to not go out and to wait till it settled down after 5 days. Then I was allowed to go out with the dragons and start cleaning things up. So you can see, and I worked with the masters. I worked with Kuan Yin. I worked with Archangel Michael. I worked with Source. I worked with the Dragon Masters, Ascended Masters to remember. Okay, so this is a representation of the deep blue dragons, which Archangel Michael, right hand, Archangel Michael and the deep blue dragons. Okay, and Archangel Michael, that is connected to Source, is a Jedi and is here to help train us as well. So the deep blue dragons can be very friendly, and then as you can see here, very expansive and like doing their thing. And for those of us who are in Jedi training or graduating, we do receive our lightsaber back. Okay, yeah, and that is because we are in check. So see how this grid works. So we can do grid work from our home. We don't physically have to go to a location on the planet, although some of us are called to do that. But we can physically, I'm here to train you all how to be involved in both global and local assignments. And the Earth Grid Work training, you get given assignments by your higher self and team for something local as well. So you know how to do that either in person or via crystal grid. Okay. And the Jedi training is unique for everyone. We work with the masters, we go to their ships for training in our sleep, and usually it moves us into another level of our physical training, taking care of these physical avatars to level up our energy. All right. So I will say, before I started offering this in the spring this year, my physical avatar has gone back to being more lightweight. And I was just given different things to eat, different things to do, different supplements. And I don't even feel like the same person that I was. I feel like my avatar feels very light and fit. And yet I'm not spending hours in the gym at this time. That just it wasn't part of it. It started to be part of it, and then it got removed. So I could spend more time outdoors doing what I need to do. So anyway, I love this image of this dragon in the water because this is a dragon master, knowing that the dragons, knowing that the dragons expand. So our dragons can be small and be in our home with us, and then they can expand at night and surround the entire property and the entire area, as well as all of our social media, etc. Okay. Yeah. So we go through initiations with them to make sure that we are in integrity, to make sure that we are facilitating their energy in the right way. And they are here to help us recreate, take the land back, take the earth back, and take everything back we are literally embodying and creating new earth. And don't forget, the grids are within us. So whatever is going on out there in our area is within us. We had that downloaded in us before we incarnated. And how we level up, how we ascend as we go through initiations and tests and assignments. Okay. So many more of you are being called to do grid work, and I'm here to facilitate that for you if you're called. Okay. Or let me just see if I can get rid of this. Okay. Yes. And something that came through the podcast is if you're out there physically doing grid work and you're in a going in and out of an airport or going in and out of a like a large facility, cloaking is not optional. Cloaking is necessary. So that will be part of the group assignment as well as individual training. Okay. So leveling up with the dragons. I bring dragon messages in every single quantum akashic type of session. There's a dragon activation package where you work with various dragons, and you, by the end of it, you've been activated and worked with 3 different dragons. There's the golden dragon package, which I think is going to be phased out. But at the moment, they're here to empower us. So for now, it's 3 sessions working with the golden dragons. And so far, really leveling souls up. Then there is the Divine Goddess Codes package where you receive Divine Goddess Code activations and you gain practice to work with that particular dragon. As an example, Mother Mary has her own dragon. Kuan Yin has her own dragon. Okay. Then leveling up after that, the higher levels of training with the dragons would be the New Earth Gridwork training or the Jedi training. There's also a STARSEEDS empowerment package, which is offers a little mixture of everything as well. And then what's the third thing? They're just letting me know. Dragons, yeah, the New Earth Grid work, you work with the dragons as well. Okay. But the Jedi training is going to be like this advanced level of you being activated every single time. And you are being activated as a Jedi activation. But if you're called to do grid work, the dragons will start weaving their way in there as well. Okay. So I guess I'm a dragon whisperer, really. And I'm so grateful that I remember how to work with them and that they came to me in July 2017. All right. So spend as much time in nature as you all can to keep aligning and staying grounded. Pay attention when you go to your nature spots. Is there litter? Has anything been infiltrated? So I was shown to set up a dragon portal with the dragons in my nature area to start cleaning it up. And I feel like that's what we're going to find with the Rockies as well. Okay. They're not able to come in on the front lines and devastate the areas if they don't have access. So they have access. That's what we're working on, closing and sealing up. And look at the dragons; they're so excited to be able to help us all and to bring Earth back to being new Earth as well. Okay, sending you all so much love, light, and aloha. Thank you for listening to this advanced transmission today. I look forward to coming back and being with y'all real soon. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and always remember that you can be a dragon. Okay, take care, everyone. Love and aloha from Pink Bella.